Yet they can't. So that shows that they have no faith in Jesus Christ whatsoever. I have, because I put a different meaning to them. The Holy Quran has taught me that religious terminology is not materialistic terminology, it's a different spiritual terminology. It should be understood in that way, in that diction. So revival in the spiritual terminology is revival from that spiritually dead, not the physically dead. Healing in that terminology means healing of our spiritual and moral diseases. You know, we find among human beings such people who are lepers, even worse than lepers, spiritually and morally. So in our idiom, normal idiom, we use such things. That such a man is like a leper in his conduct, in his morality. Such a man is beastly. That doesn't mean he turned into a leper really, or a beast, does he? But still it conveys something to us. Why, when Jesus spoke in parables, and he took pride in the fact that he spoke in parables, why then, when it was written about him that one would come who would speak in parables, he's taken too literally. Contrary to what he claims, contrary to what was said of him, which is nonsensical. Consider the terminology, first understand the terminology of a science or a subject, and then the whole puzzle will be solved. Unless you know the terminology of science, you will not understand that language. Unless you understand the terminology of economics, a layman will not understand these books, although written in the same English as we read. So the terminology of religion has to be first determined, and then all the puzzles are solved. The Son of God also is a terminology. Has been used elsewhere in the Bible. Has been used about other people than Jesus Christ. Children of God, not only one son, children of God. And also it is applicable to a whole race and a nation. Go to the earliest chapter of Bible, Genesis, and you will find mention of children of God going to the children of Satan or heathen people and having fight and have relationship with them and so on and so forth. God's children marrying earthly people. What does it mean? Did God used to issue so many children in the past, and Jesus was the last child he gave birth to? Everything is topsy-turvy and wrong somehow if you take these things too literally. Then Jesus should not be the firstborn, he should be the lastborn.
Possibly, right?
Yes.
I agree with
Yes. So, children of God and the sons of God should be understood according to the religious terminology. This is what Jesus himself said and pointed out to those who objected against him and said, you are indulging in blasphemy. He said, what blasphemy? Lesser people than me before have been called the same things, have been entitled the same things by you. He was referring to the Bible. He said, and you call it this blasphemy? So, no blasphemy as long as you understand the meaning in spirit. But if you take it too literally on the face value of things, then the whole system of religion would go wrong. Then you will not receive any message whatsoever. Children of God, sons of God, is a comparative term, which means those who are dear to Allah, dear to God, like his own children, like your children are to you. When pitched against others, you will always take sides with your children and not with those who are against your children. So this has been history of religion in a nutshell. Whoever has been representing God, when people have been cruel to him or to them, if they are more in number, Allah has always treated him or them like his own children. And to convey this to the others, that you will be punished if you do harm to them. This terminology was used. and abandoned later on. But partially, occasionally, it is also used in the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran tells us that if you want to understand God or to have belief in God, you have a similar case in your son-father relationship. I mean, and these are not the exact words, but I'm conveying the meaning to you so that you can understand the fact. An illustration is made in the Holy Quran to point out that what is the proof of a son being a father's son, a particular father's son. Nobody knows, nobody can say. Unless a woman is kept in entire captivity throughout her life, so that it can be positively established that nobody cast an eye upon her except the husband, nobody can offer a proof. But still you know. The Holy Quran points out through signs in them. Their features, their habits and so on. You see? Yes.
Very good.
So, a prophet should be judged if he has signs of God in him. That is the being son. If he has signs of God in him, if godliness is apparent in his habits and character, then you should judge that he is from God, and then he is judged that he is true. Otherwise, you can't ever know whether God did speak to him or not, whether God did send him to you or not, because this is a hidden relationship like the hidden relationship of a mother conceiving a child. So, this also explains, as I told you, the true meaning of son-father relationship. People who belong to God have signs among them, in their character, in their attitude, which are godly signs. And they represent God on earth. And they should be judged by their conduct and their behavior. So Jesus called himself Son of God. At the same time, he repeatedly called himself Son of Man, to point out this difference. To point out that don't take me too literally. I am Son of God in character, in flesh, in body. Literally speaking, I am Son of Man, no more than that.
If I come back with the faith of a mustard seed, you will believe me.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. See? So we believe in this because Holy Quran has also explained the similar terms used vis-a-vis other prophets. For instance, reviving from the dead. The Holy Quran tells us about the Holy Prophet of Islam, Yad'ukum lima yuhyikum. He calls you towards him so that he revive you. He may revive you, give you life. That obviously means not life of a corporal nature, of a material nature, but life spiritual.
But
The spiritual
we all
life.
hope to get into heaven, don't we?
Huh?
We all hope to get into
That's right,
heaven,
yes.
the great God.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No
Every
one can come
prophet-
to God the Father except by me.
Exactly. That shows, if you accept this claim of Jesus Christ entirely, even then it does not make the slightest difference to a Muslim's attitude towards Jesus Christ or to other prophets. It does not make any difference. Because the other day I have been telling to some people, some followers of Jehovah's Witnesses, some people belonging to Jehovah's Witnesses, who particularly quote this with special emphasis. I am the way, I am the life, and so on, Omega, Alpha, and so on and so forth. I have been telling them that why don't you study other religions? The founders of the other religion have also made such claims. And they had to. Now, you will understand this much better in the perspective of religious history. If Jesus is to be taken, is to be understood in the sense that he was the only way, and the only source of life, none other ever existed, then all the people before him were dead, declared dead.
No, they were looking forward to him.
No. Just a minute. Looking forward to water does not save you from death if you don't have water. Unless water comes to you, if you're thirsty and you have access to that water, it can't save your life. People have been looking forward to water in oases, in deserts, and all of them perished and died, except those who did reach water. So the entire humanity before Jesus Christ may have been looking forward to his coming, but he did not come.